Good evening. I'm squeaking to you tonight, once again, as the chairman for the Loyal Society for the Prevention of Piss Pronunciation.
Good evening, and here is the news for this Monday, the 8th of June 2015. We're going to start the bulletin this evening with a discussion or a commentary on a program that has aired in Phoenix, Arizona with Fox 10, one of Rupert Murdoch's stations, and in fact it's the Fox 10 medical team. And they discuss the benefits of going barefoot, recommending ditch the shoes. Well, I was intrigued to watch this program because it actually talks about contact with the Earth's current providing electrons which act as powerful antioxidants. So they're saying that if you walk barefoot, you'll get exchange of electrons from the ground, and this will provide a range of health benefits. Citing research proof, the team chose to cut to Dr. Joel Calm, who proceeded to cite not 1 ounce of scientific evidence of any kind, and the program ends by recommending that one should buy a mat which plugs into the normal electricity source, and you then stand on this mat and it will give you the electrical currents you need instead of actually going barefoot and standing on the earth. I really do wonder why they don't make a smaller version of this and attach this to the head to stimulate the brain. That might be a little bit more beneficial. Now, obviously I'm biased in this matter, so we're going to cut to our man in the field, our man on the ground, the ubiquitous Dr. Simon Spooner, expert in biomechanics and purveyor of truth, justice and the British way. Thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Si. This is Simon Spooner out in the field for BB News. It's at times like this I'm reminded of the infamous words of Grandmaster Melly Mel and the Furious Five. Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. Ah ha ha ha. I think there's a message in that for all of us. Back to you, Si.
Thank you very much for that excellent insight, Dr. Spooner. Wait a moment, there's a live feed coming back in. Dr. Spooner wants to say one more thing.
Thanks, Si. This is Simon Spooner out in the field for BB News. Cock, penis, tool, Hampton, knob, willy. It's got lots of names. Maybe it's just too much Leonard Cohen. Back to you, Si.
Okay, we'll now turn our attention to a couple of the day's top research stories here. We've got a nice paper called Retraining Running Gait to Reduce Tibial Loads with Clinician or Accelerometry Guided Feedback. This is by Mark Creeby, ex-University of Melbourne, and it's a quite elegant little study. It basically talks about what many of us place some hope in terms of gait retraining. This is particularly important for tibial stress fractures because we now have some evidence that if you can reduce the acceleration of the tibia, it may have quite an impact on the potential to develop a stress fracture. Now, there are 2 ways that you can gait retrain. You can either do it by clinical instruction. In other words, the clinician stands there and says, okay, we want you to change your gait in this manner, or you can use an accelerometer. Now, Mark's study looked at both these methods. Obviously, using an accelerometer involves some expense. You have to buy the little unit. They're several $100s. And he was interested to know whether clinical instruction would have a similar effect. In fact, what he concluded from the study is that low-cost, low-tech, clinically guided approach to retraining is at least as effective as the more expensive accelerometry guided solution. So that's one that you might like to consider. Now, our final paper for today is very important. It is discussing the IOC relative energy deficiency in sport clinical assessment tool. I'll say that one more time because I fluffed it the first time. Relative energy deficiency in sport clinical assessment tool. It's far easier to call it the REDS CAT. And this paper is from Mountjoy and co-workers. You can see the reference down the bottom there for this. Now, I think this is a quite important paper because it follows on from the 2012 International Olympic Committee, IOC, consensus statement, which was entitled Beyond the Female Athlete Triad. The female athlete triad's been talked about for some time, and we all know that this is involving, in most terms, eating disorder, leading to menstrual dysfunction, leading to change in bone density. Now, I think it's time that we revisited that as clinicians. We've not been talking about that so much for quite some time because the scope of this problem is much larger than just looking at that in isolation. So I think the REDS-CAT's a really important tool for evaluation of athletes and also active individuals. And it's also important to note that this is applicable to both males and females. Some time ago I wrote a blog saying that I believed there was a similar issue in males that bore some similarities to the female athlete triad. But this is specifically to those who are suspected of having relative energy deficiency related to impairments of metabolic rate, menstrual function, bone health, immunity, protein synthesis, and cardiovascular health. I'd urge you to have a look at this. It's quite important for all clinicians. The relative energy deficiency is quite a large problem in athletes, and it's a very multi-focused and multifunctional problem. So have a look at that paper. Okay, that's all I have for you for today. I will speak with you tomorrow, providing we've got some material. Could be a slow news day for all I know. But for now, ciao. See you tomorrow.